Today, we're jumping straight into Phaser 3 to see how we can recreate the background scrolling effect by using WebGL and shaders. Hey everyone, in our last video, we broke down how the background scrolling shader works in raw WebGL, how shifting our UV coordinates over time gives us an infinitely looping scroll, just like you've seen in classic EarthBound Battle backgrounds. If you missed that one, check it out first, the link's in the description. To save time, I've set up a starter project. It already includes the basics. Our background image is loaded, and is displayed taking up the full size of our game. We have a placeholder pipeline in place that just passes through our original texture and then renders it out to our screen. Finally, we have a tweak pane set up so we can adjust parameters like our scroll speed in real time and then modify our background image texture that we're using. Here's the pipeline class we'll be working with. Right now, it's just a pass-through shader where we just do a sample from the texture that's passed in. There's a few custom uniforms that have been added. First, we have a uniform for time, which is the amount of time that has passed since our game has started. This time is going to be used to create our animation effect in our shader. We then have a uniform for our speed, which is a vector 2, so we can control our horizontal and vertical scroll speed independently. And then in our pipeline, in the onPreRender method, we update those uniforms every frame of our game loop. Our time uniform, this is going to be based on the amount of time that has passed in our game loop, and so it's just going to increment continuously, and then our speed will control our direction and then the rate of our scroll in our X and Y value. So with our pipeline defined, for us to actually use it over in our game scene, first we need to add our pipeline to our renderer. Once we do that, we can add it to our background image game object. We do that by using the setPostPipeline method, and then we pass in our pipeline that we want to use. Internally, Phaser will create an instance of our pipeline and apply it to this game object. It's going to go ahead and apply our shader code to our game object. Besides this, the rest of our code in our game scene is used for creating our tweak pane integration, so we can dynamically modify our uniforms in real time and then update our texture for our background image. And that's it. Now that we reviewed our starting project template, let's go ahead and add in our code for our background scrolling effect shader. So now for the code we're going to add to our shader, we're not going to be doing a deep dive into how all of this works. If you're interested in learning more, I recommend checking out the first video where we implemented this scrolling effect in raw WebGL. In that video, we do a deep dive into how the effect works and how we can recreate it using WebGL. The link's in the description. So now to get the effect we're looking for, we need to calculate a new coordinate of where we want to sample from our texture for the given pixel that we're currently processing. So for that, we're going to do a vector 2. We're going to call this scrolled chords. Then we're going to set it equal to our outText chord uniform. And now we want to add in for our offset, we're going to have this based on our time uniform that's being set. We want to multiply it by our speed vector that we're passing in. So our speed vector, this is going to be our uniform values that are being set on tweak pane here. So based on our X and Y values we're passing in, this is going to increase the offset that we're looking at in our texture. Once we've calculated that position, we now need to wrap our coordinates. That way we stay within the bounds of our texture. Otherwise, what will happen is our value is going to go outside our bounds of -1 to 1, and we won't be able to sample from our original texture's position. So by wrapping, once we reach the edge of our screen, we're going to wrap around to our other side. So to do that, we're going to make a new vector 2. We're going to call this wrapped chords. And we're going to set this equal to the fract function that's available in WebGL. And all we have to do is pass in our vector 2 that we want to do this to. So now this is going to make sure our value for our coordinate is going to stay between -1 and 1. So now that we have our new coordinate position, we just need to sample our texture at that position. So let's copy our code here for our GL frag color. We're going to set it equal to our texture 2D, which texture we want to sample. But now for our position, we want to use our wrapped coordinates. So now if we save, we come back to our browser, we should see our new effect being applied to our background game object. So now if we update our speed X and our speed Y values to be 0, this should have the effect where our image is no longer scrolling. And now as we update our X value, this is going to increase how far we're scrolling for each update of our game loop. And if we update our value to be negative, we'll move in the opposite direction. Then we can do the same thing for our Y value to have our texture scroll vertically. And that's all there is to it. With just a couple of uniforms, you can recreate that classic infinite scrolling effect from EarthBound, or repurpose it for things like star fields, parallax layers, retro style game backgrounds, and more. Thanks so much for watching. If this was helpful, hit the like button, leave a comment with the shader effects you'd like to see me cover next, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future phaser tutorials. And if you'd like to support the channel, I've got a Ko-fi page. The link's in the description. Every coffee helps me keep making these videos. See you in the next one.